Hello, and welcome to Does It Resonate with You, the thought-provoking conversation show where your hosts, Angie of the ZXUH Method and John the Tarot Geek, figure out what resonates with them while encouraging you to find what resonates with you. Let's get started. Hey, John.
Hi, Angie.
We're trying out that new intro. We kind of like it, so I hope you do too.
That's awesome.
P.S. We are at 39 subscribers still. So if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, please down there, click that button, subscribe, and you'll be the first to be notified. And especially when we start doing like contests and things on the live stream, it'll be there on YouTube. So you're going to want to be, advised about that, right?
And if you subscribe, you will get some kind of a karmic benefit, I'm sure.
For sure. Absolutely. And I mean, what comes around goes around, right? And anyway, right. 40. I mean, what I'd really like to see by the end of this show, which would be Friday, is 44. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
A little bit of an angel number. Numbers. So we need 5 for right now. 5 to get to 44. So let's work. Let's put the
energy out there. Go find your 5 best friends and use a little coercion.
Yeah, and we love it. We appreciate if you share and all that good stuff too. So we know some of you are enjoying the program, and we're enjoying doing it. So we have a really interesting show today, I think, because the idea of actually having a conversation and combining that with a reading for the next quarter so that people can understand the energy of what's coming up for the next quarter, I think is a really great idea. So who are we going to talk about today, John?
Oh, we're going to talk about 3 goddesses that we pulled from the Goddess Oracle deck. That one, yes.
Yep, the Colette Baron Reed Goddess Power Oracle, published by Hay House.
Yes, and the 3 that we pulled are Hera, Hestia, and Parvati. So there's Hera and Hestia and Parvati. You want to say a little bit about each one of them?
Sure. So Hera is the wife of Zeus. And, all of these goddesses have interesting stories. There's all kind of stories out there for you to, you can Google and read. One of the reasons I was really intrigued to do this way was when we talked about it, the energy was presenting itself in a way that kind of entwined all 3 of them together so that I could present them as a combined front to help you figure out what the energy would be for the next quarter. So I love that idea.
Yep.
Then we have Colette Baron Reed, who I watched the launch video of this deck. And she said she sat with each and every one of these goddesses while she was writing the deck. Cool. So the guidance that comes from her in this book, I feel like, is very strong and relevant to the now. Those stories.
She's not just pulling out old stories. She's making it very, very, very present.
Right. So we have Hera, who is the goddess of marriage and childbirth, all new beginnings, right? That's all about new beginnings.
Yep.
And then we have Hestia, who is the goddess of the hearth. So she's about, being comfortable in your skin and being comfortable in your home, the hearth, the home, taking care of your body and all of that. And then Parvati, who is a Hindu goddess, and she really encourages you to acknowledge your personal growth. So, I mean, we have a lot to talk about when it comes to this, how it combines together, the idea of how you might apply these things into real life.
As opposed to the other kind.
Right? So I'm excited. I think let's just get started.
Yeah, let's just dive right in.
We've got the very first one. We've got Hera, and Hera is, according to Colette, here to tell you to find aligned alliances, teachers, mentors, partners, collaborators. I think that the days of everyone is an island are kind of over. What do you think about that?
Yeah, what I'm finding really interesting, and I'm an avid reader, is there's such a wealth of knowledge out there from books and courses and people you can follow, and people with very interesting points of view. So there are many teachers and mentors out there to kind of help you along your spiritual journey. I like the mentorship idea. Back before we all were robots in jobs, there was actually a whole system of someone taking an apprentice and teaching them how to do a craft, and people learning by seeing and doing, and having someone take them under their wing and really help mentor them.
Right. And I would also point out here that, I think the key word here is aligned, right? Because there are a lot of mentors out there. There are a lot of teachers out there. There are a lot of people who might like to partner up with you in some kind of business. I find that collaborators are preferable in my world to partners, so to speak. But the more you can do in alignment, the more expansive everything can be.
Right.
What is that? What do I mean by that? I mean, you don't have to agree with everybody that wrote a book. You can read a book and you can take what resonates with you, right? Like that's what we're here to do, is encourage you. Right.
Another way to say aligned is resonating with.
Right. Exactly.
There's our phrase right there.
Exactly.
Aligned alliances. Does the alliance resonate with you?
Yes. I mean, because and as many books as you read, that's as many I don't read, right? Like
that's why we're a great
I know we're point counterpoint, right? Like and I mean, it's interesting because I know that there is a book. It is actually called I Was a Sponge for Negative Energy. That's all I got right now. But so it's not that I have anything against these authors, right? I think what they have adds value. I think what they have to say contributes to the light. But the way they go about what they do doesn't work for everyone. And I think sometimes I see a lot of people who feel like in their spiritual journeys, they're swimming upstream. And it's because they're following somebody who's presenting the message in a way they don't quite understand. They can't quite wrap their minds around. So is it that the mentor or the teacher is wrong? No. Is it that the student can't learn? No. It's that everybody learns differently. And we all need to figure out, how do we connect to the energy? How do we receive the energy? How do we interpret the energy?
Yeah.
And the minute you become empowered to do that, everything breaks wide open for you.
Yep. I have a funny example of that this week. So it's kind of on the business side. A friend of mine were talking, and she's been running her business many years. And she said that several years ago, she really wanted to ramp things up and found a mentor. And she's very soft-spoken and very reserved and very introspective. And the teacher or mentor that she had kind of settled on was all about, cheerleader, rah, rah, rah. And she said she tried to do this in her videos, and she said it just fell flat. And she realized that's not, I can't do that. It's not me. It doesn't resonate with me. She said that exactly. It's like, wow, what a great testament to finding something that really resonates with your soul to make it right.
Right. And also, now with all of the AI that is on the horizon, I think if it's not here yet, it's going to be here soon. People are going to be wanting to connect with your authentic self, your authentic, imperfect self.
Right.
So is the lighting in my video okay? Maybe, but does it matter? Is what I'm saying more important? I'm still going to get the camera that helps me connect to you, and I'm still going to do that. Like I have. It is on its way.
Right. I just like to point out that we are two actual real human beings here.
Right. And I think that differentiating ourselves, AI is great. There's a lot of use for it. I can see a lot of use for it. If you are wanting to write a blog and you need some prompts, great. you don't, but it shouldn't be what writes the blogs. I mean, we're disconnected enough.
Right. This is only going to push us further down that that path that's already kind of a little unreal.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, it just, although I'm never gonna turn off the Zoom touch up my appearance feature either. Because I am 108. No.
Wow.
Anyway, I know, right? Amazing.
Where is that button?
Well, it's not. We're using StreamYard, so we don't have it in here. But anyway, so have you ever? I think I mentioned a little bit about this the last time we spoke, or maybe I don't know. I was on the Mooniverse podcast. So I'm a guest on there, and as soon as I know where that's going to be and when it's going to come out, we'll let everybody know so you can listen.
I want to see that.
He's amazing.
Yep.
I was actually amazing, but if I do say so myself.
Mentor and teacher. He is a mentor.
Oh my gosh, yes. As am I, but I digress. But I remember in the beginning, like the teachers I had that taught me energy work and Akashic work, mostly energy work, they all did a lot of work on trauma. I've told you this before.
Yeah.
And so I used to always feel like I was less than because it was not what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that, when I started working with Mooney, he was one of the first ones to give me permission to be authentically myself. Like, no, Angie, people need that fun. I love what you're talking about because.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. It was amazing. But the point is, I could learn from those teachers forever. And I'm damned independent, right? Like that is a term that I've been given over my life. You're just so damn independent. Whatever. Like I've been on my own since I was 16. Like, what do you think? But the point being that not everybody has that drive to do it themselves. There are a lot of people out there who just figure, oh, well, this person wrote a book, and so they must know what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do it and do it and do it, like the person you're talking about, and it just doesn't work.
Right.
She was not being authentically herself. She's not that person.
Yep. But guess what happens when you learn that? Things just become easier.
They do, right? Yeah. Like they do.
Yep.
So really that's my whole mission, is to empower people to understand that take everything, learn everything, try everything, and then keep what works.
Right. Keep what resonates with you.
Right. Exactly.
We're both mentors too to the people that we mentor.
Exactly.
And yes, so that.
I mean, a tarot reader is a mentor anyway, right?
Yep.
Like if you think about it.
Yeah.
I will say I've noticed a deeper connection to the cards this year than I've ever felt before, which I find really interesting.
That's cool. Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that kind of thing this year. Like there's an energy that has shifted kind of globally.
That's
so I wonder if some of it's not the power of these goddesses that we're calling on regularly and bringing into the room,
Right. Well, and our angels we did in a previous episode was really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. And do you remember me telling you that you could get a deck that had all the angels and you could put them in a circle and sit in the middle?
Yes, you did mention that.
You can do that. You can totally do that with the goddesses too. It's cool. Amazing. So anyway, so find aligned alliances, find teachers, mentors, even podcasters or YouTubers that resonate with you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just believe it. And when we get to Parvati, she's going to tell you once again, no more blind faith. Stand up, and really figure out what resonates with you. Because that's why we're doing this, right? It's important to us that people figure that out for themselves. Yep. So, wow. All right. Well, I think, are we ready to move on to Hestia for now?
Let me say one more thing real quick about collaboration. Sure. So what I found is that you can do all kinds of things online and digitally and this technique and that technique, but when things really start to happen, it's when you're collaborating with another person.
Yep.
So those collaborations, whatever you're working in, whatever you're doing in life, when you collaborate with another human being, that's when the magic starts to happen.
That is the truth. That is the truth, right? I tried to do a podcast by myself. I can't tell you how many times.
Yeah, me
and
too.
It was awful. It was no fun because you're just sitting there talking, like, and don't get me wrong, you can tell I love to talk, but it's the collaboration, the back and forth, and that just makes it so much more,
mm-hmm. right? Deeper. Yep, for sure.
So that's. And
all right, so point number 1, collaborate. Okay, now we can go on.
Okay, and on that vein, there is enough for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Collaborating is okay because there's enough for everyone. It's not a competition.
No,
no
competition gets into
collaborate.
lack, right?
Yes, exactly, right? Like competition is actually the polarity of collaboration.
Yeah.
Lack and abundance. Lack is the
competition.
No. Yes. Lack is the polarity of abundance. Competition is the polarity of collaboration. So abundance and collaboration, or lack and competition? What would you like?
I'll take collaboration, please.
Me, I just speaking about that real quick. I just curious. Those commercials, I mean, politicians do it, but that's not really what I'm talking about. There's other companies that really run down their competitors. Like, well, you could get insurance from us, but it's from them, but it's much better if you get it from us. They'll name names. If you do that, I don't buy from you. That's just, if you do that, I don't buy from you. I don't. Like,
there wasn't an Apple commercial slamming Windows, and then Windows came back and slammed Apple. It's funny, but it's just kind of how big companies behave, right?
And Windows, actually, there's a lot that Apple could slam Windows over, like the whole virus thing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is, Windows is affordable.
There's pros and cons of
absolutely both. And actually, being in the income tax business kept me in Windows because the software is not compatible.
It just doesn't exist. It's not really for business.
Right. They don't write it for that. So but it's, I don't know.
We're digressing again.
Yeah, that's what we do. But anyway, now we'll move on. So remember, find a teacher, find a mentor, find a partner or collaborator that lifts you up, that is in alignment with what it is you're trying to create. Because what you're doing now is trying to figure out what the energy is for the next 3 months. That's what the next quarter is, the next 3 months. So what are you working on? Who do you need to help you with that? What resonates with you, right? So that's really great. And now I'm excited about this next one. If only I could convince somebody to help me with this. But Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, right? She is really all about clearing the clutter. Like, this is a big deal. Although, did you hear the whole thing about Marie Kondo? You know who that is?
If it brings you joy, I have her book. Yep.
But then now she's got kids and she has a cluttered house. Like, I just think that's hilarious.
So, yes. And it did not occur to me when I read her book that she didn't have children.
Oh.
But when that came out in the news, I was like, aha. I know. I feel your pain.
Well, and the truth is, I don't have kids and I still have clutter. So I think some people are more lean toward clutter than others. You know?
Yep.
But I will say that I know that it feels better. I can feel a difference in the energy when the clutter gets cleared, right?
I agree.
Things get donated. I can feel that shift.
Right. And the clutter out there somehow causes clutter in here.
Absolutely.
And
no doubt.
Yep. And so, yeah, I've got, just looking around here, I've got some work to do. So bring on some Hestia.
Right. So she actually, I love how Colette wrote these alignment messages. So I'm just gonna read some of this alignment message because I think so many of us struggle with clutter and the idea of, I mean, there's a lot of things that fall into clutter. And I think this is a lot of times, when you think about hoarders, I know that there's a lot of mental illness involved in that. But there's one of the problems I have with clutter is I don't like putting things in the landfill at all. I don't like it.
Yeah,
Like,
right. And you'd
like
rather
clothing and
recycle, but can this
right.
be recycled?
And then there's things that can be recycled, normally, and then there's other things that you have to figure out a way to do. So the idea of that is an excuse to some degree, right?
True.
Because
Yep.
there's got to be a way to get through it. But what's interesting is, she is calling clutter more than just stuff. So, are you surrounded by clutter in your home or work? Do you have objects or clothes that have negative stories attached to them? Every object holds energy and tells a specific story. The pants that don't fit shame you. The gift from an ex partner taunts you with disappointment or resentment. The books you will never read shout at you. Who needs this cacophony? The goddess Hestia, who rules the hearth, offers you this alignment task. Do a thorough house cleaning. I need about $500 for that. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not doing that myself.
And about 2 weeks.
Right? Declutter and make space. I don't think it would be 2 weeks. It would be, a couple of days. But
Okay.
it's not really that bad. But I mean, that is most of my house right behind me.
Okay.
I mean, we have upstairs and all that too. But anyway, declutter and make space in your environment. For me, I say don't look at it as the whole house, right? Look at it as, I don't know, an 8x8 space. Find an 8x8 space that you can declutter and create and make a space for yourself. And then when you're finished with that, live with that, keep it that way, and then work on another 8x8 space, right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah. When I clean up, when I declutter, for me, it's so much easier to say, kind of whittle away at it. So I'm going to spend 2 hours, and whatever gets done in that time is done. And I'm going to focus on one area and then on to the next area some other day.
right. I mean, to me, that's just, it can be just so overwhelming. And then I don't know about you, but I'm the one, like, if I try to do that, I make a bigger mess than there was when I started out. Like, the next thing you know, everything's out of the closet, everything's out of the dresser, everything is, and now, oh God, now there's nowhere to sleep. Like
all right.
So
yes.
there,
well, they say it's got to get worse before it gets better.
Well, I think that's true. What's also interesting in here is she adds walk away from situations. You don't belong
clutter,
in.
emotional clutter.
Right. Get rid of all of it. When you remove the superfluous, it's not like I don't know how to talk. When you remove the forget it. Those distractions. I don't know why I can't say that word. I say it all the time. It's amazing how your intentions come together like magic. Now, isn't that interesting how we're bringing in a couple of weeks ago into this conversation? Make space for the miracles the goddess Hestia has in store for you. Yes, it takes work, but it's worth it. So, can you still be the victim of clutter if your home is immaculate? Yeah.
Well, I'll say I know people that have immaculate homes that are not happy.
Right.
Of course, they hire out the cleaning, but they haven't done the inner work.
Right. I mean, if one of the things I find more often than not in a conversation about like when I do an Akashic reading, is people who tend to stay in situations longer than they should. And Akashically, that's the result of, an unresolved agreement or an unresolved pact or a contract. So I think that, that's the kind of clutter. Maybe is that what we're talking about? Can we
Yeah,
clear
I think
that
so.
kind of clutter as well? Because really, if in the beginning of the message, Hestia is telling you to be more comfortable in your own skin, right? Like being so. If do you look at your skin, your body as your temple? That concept that they have in
Yeah.
in
Yep.
religion, right?
Right. Right. No, it's a very common metaphor is the body as a temple. That goes towards what do you put in your body, right? What do you
Right.
eat? What do you drink?
Oh
The
man,
thing.
and now we're moving back into the conversation we had with Val, right? Like,
Yes.
remember we're talking
Yes.
about that.
Right.
I think um some of that your body is a temple. Be very mindful of what you put in. Yes, your body needs the appropriate fuel, but some of that conversation feels a little controlling to me. Like somebody is telling me your body is a temple, you should only have this. Who are they to tell me what I should and
Oh, I
shouldn't
see what you're
eat? You know
saying.
what I mean?
Right. They're
Like,
just they're just cloaking control into the metaphysical language.
right?
Yeah, how interesting.
Right?
Right?
I mean, and let's face it, the mystery schools are there for a reason. Mystery schools are the teachings of religion without the organization, right? It's the organization that wants to control. It's not the religion. It's not the
Right.
teachings of
Right.
the
Right. Right.
religion,
Yep.
right?
No, that's
But it's that organization that cloaks those religious teachings
yep.
into the idea of control.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's no different than parents saying, "I'm going to call Santa Claus if you don't behave."
Right.
You know?
So, what one of my favorite writers and teachers on energy medicine is Donna Eden.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's done a number of books, energy medicine, big, thick book, very, very, very good. And she has a funny story where she was talking about how, a lot of people in the metaphysical space are vegetarians and even more vegans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was at an outdoor event one time and was eating a hot dog, and someone who just realized who she was like aghast, like, oh, you're eating a hot dog, you can't do that, you're a spiritual teacher and an energy healer. And she says, no, for me, my body needs this, and I already know this is good for me. It might not be good for you.
Right. Right. And the truth of the matter is, who is more spiritual than the Native Americans? And what
Right.
did they eat?
Right. Everything. They ate everything.
Yes, because they had to.
Right.
Right. So I will say, philosophically, I'd rather not eat meat.
Right.
Right. Philosophically, I'd really rather not eat meat.
Right. There's a lot of
However,
reasons. Mm-hmm.
right. And like I say, philosophically, but my body doesn't do well if I don't eat meat. Like
Right.
it just doesn't.
Yep.
Is that the whole blood type thing? Because I'm a type O, and according to
I hadn't heard that.
according to Dr. Diadamo, type O need meat, red meat. I think it's A or maybe AB that are meant more to be vegetarians. There's what they said
Wow.
is, what he says is that type O is the oldest. So the type O comes from cavemen.
Cool.
Right? But that cavemen, that's what they ate, was meat. And so
Right.
the way their physiology is and the way their stomach works, the acid,
Mm-hmm.
right? You need more acid to break down meat. And if you don't eat enough meat, you get gastro trouble.
How interesting.
And as soon as I realized that and I started eating more meat, heartburn goes away. But now we definitely digress.
We did, but I learned something really cool. I never
I
knew
know,
that
right? So
about blood type.
it's Dr. Peter Diadamo. It's really a pretty fascinating book.
Huh.
About eat right for your type. The blood type, and some of the people he's healed just by shifting what they eat. It's kind of
wow. That's really cool.
It's really interesting. There are a lot of people that follow it. It was interesting because the list of things that he said, people shouldn't eat. Many of the things on there were things I either didn't like or things that I don't eat because they give me trouble. Peanut butter, American cheese, like I love American cheese. Oh, do I love American cheese though? I mean,
Well,
what's better on a burger, right?
yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Although,
Anyway,
we're
and a
really
grilled
digressing
cheese.
now, but
I really like a grilled cheese with American cheese too, with a bunch of fried onions in the middle. But again, now we're not talking about goddesses. This is not a food show.
no, but clearing
But wow,
clutter.
look, we're at halfway already.
Oh goodness,
So
okay.
it is time for a shameless plug. So I'm gonna hit our little shameless plug button here, and I'm gonna turn off Hestia. So what have we got? We do have the Oracle Seance is up on the Facebook page. I don't know if you got it on the Tarot Geek page yet, but we'll get it there to make sure that people can check it out. And so that is very, very limited though. That is
right.
We limit that to 8 people. It's a small group because everybody gets a reading. Everybody gets to, get an opportunity to get a connection. And you get to choose who it is you want to connect with. So we're inviting you to, pick 1 or 2 people and bring an object or a note or a picture with you when you sit down at the Zoom screen so that we can connect to the energy of whoever that is and give you the messages in a way that's takes a little, the guesswork out of it, right? It's a little bit more of a gentle way, but it gives you a little time in the driver's seat too, And we're going to do that amazing meditation again where we fix that conversation space for you so that, if you are able to connect with these loved ones that you're looking for, you're able to go and do that again after we finish. So I'm really excited because it was a great event the first time we did it. So I'm looking forward to doing that again. Again, sign up soon though, because it is very limited. The space is very limited. Yep. So there's that. Do you have anything personal?
Just my my Tarot Geek site. So Tarot Geek, TAROTGEEK.com. That's my tarot site. And I am getting ready to do some promotions, some discounts on readings. So go to the site, make sure you're on the list. There'll be a little pop-up there to get on the VIP club, I call it. And before too long, I'll be sending out some promotions. So excellent. John the Tarot Geek.
Excellent. All right. Well, that was enough for that. That's it for the shameless plug for this week. Now, the last one, and then we'll talk a little bit about the way the 3 of them combine together.
Right.
Because I think it's interesting when you line them up.
Yeah, when you look at it as a reading.
Yeah. Parvati. So Parvati is a Hindu goddess.
It's funny, we got 2 Roman goddesses and 1 Hindu.
I'm a lot more. Isn't Hera? Aren't they Greek? Hera and Hestia.
Yes, you're right. They are Greek. Each of them has a Roman counterpart with a different name.
Yes.
But you're right. They're both Greek. Just a funny little plug here for there's a series of kids books that talk about there's modern kids who are connecting back to their Greek and Roman gods and goddesses from the past, and they're called the Percy Jackson books. They're for kids.
Isn't Percy Jackson the thunder? Something about thunder, lightning, something about?
No, he's the son of Poseidon, so he's one of the sea gods or the half blood. But
I'm talking about a movie. I think is what I'm talking about.
Well, there might be one. I know there's a book coming out because of the movies, but I don't think it's out yet, or maybe it is. But
Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Lightning Thief.
That's it. That
was a 2010 film. I saw the movie.
No kidding. All right, so I missed that.
Yeah.
What I did hear is there's another one coming out soon. Point is, I get to hear all these stories about Greek and Roman gods that I had kind of missed growing up. So I'm quite familiar with the Hera and Hestia, but not as much with Parvati.
Okay. Actually, Poseidon Yeah. So Poseidon, Hades was the son of, okay. Hades was the son of the Titans, Cronus and Rhea,
Yep.
brother of the deities Zeus, Poseidon, Demeter, Hera, and Hestia. So Hera and Hestia are sisters. Poseidon is their brother, along with Hades. And then Hades is the one that basically kidnapped Persephone and took her into the underworld.
Correct. Yep.
So
He's
interesting.
kind of like the black sheep of the family.
Well, there,
we could go on and on for
I'm going to
hours.
tell you what, there's stories about that I'm just don't think I want to go too far into in the on the talk show. But
I would agree. They're not PG.
Yeah, right. In the Hindu religion, Parvati, the goddess of the Himalayas, is the archetypal mother goddess and fertility image. So actually, Parvati is mother and fertility. She's kind of a counter to Hera, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So mother and fertility, and then she's also the mother of Ganesh, the elephant.
Right, the elephant god. Yep.
So I just adore the elephants.
I do too.
Anyway, all together, and Ganesh is a favorite. So, but only because I see as an energy worker, I connect to the energy of these people without actually necessarily reading or understanding their story. I like their energy.
Ooh,
like
cool.
I sit in the energy of them,
right?
So, but I love in this particular message of Parvati, she's here to acknowledge your personal growth. So as it relates to the reading, we're talking about your personal growth for the next 3 months, how far you've come, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she's wanting you to leave blind faith behind.
Right. We got to dig into that. That's important.
Right. She's here now to offer her help because blind faith in others isn't serving you. And devotion to something underserving serving may be showing up in your life. In other words, maybe you're too focused on something that's not really resonating with you, right? So ask yourself, why are you so committed to someone or something deep down will fail you? This is telling you that you have the ability to make that connection and have that understanding for yourself.
Yep.
Are you afraid of seeing things as they are? And what if you let go and allow a higher force to guide you to the right people, places, and things that are in your highest good? Which, I mean, if you really look at that, that loops all the way back around to Hera again.
Mm-hmm.
So the three together, what an amazing combination. Hera and Parvati here to tell you, listen to yourself, march to your own drummer, and then Hestia, clear the clutter so you can hear the two communicating, right?
Oh, cool.
Like the energy in between, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, how does one go about acknowledging their own personal growth?
Well, I guess so. I'm going to relate it a little bit to my journey. When you're young and I just kind of trying to fit in the world, you find someone to listen to, and the danger is that you put all your faith in that person. You put your mentor or your leader on a pedestal,
right?
And that is the blind faith. And we'll take just a little quick detour here to politics. I think people do that way, way, way over the top in politics. Oh, this particular leader is going to be the one that saves us all.
Yeah,
and
right.
They put blind faith in a person rather than knowing deep down what is
it's really blind faith, right? Blind faith and confirmation bias.
Yes.
Especially when you're talking about politics. And it's interesting that you said the word pedestal because, there was a really big spiritual leader, spiritual teacher who was up pretty high on a pedestal, who did a complete 180 and let a lot of, and I'll say her, and I'm not going to say her name, but it let a lot of her followers down. And I was amazed at how many people were broken by this turn of events.
Yes.
friends of this particular person, like actual acquaintances, one thing, but I could not believe the number of people who had only ever seen this person on a video or, in a recorded program, in a recorded course, who, when this person, flipped around, it caused them to question the very essence of what it was they were trying to accomplish. And I thought,
right.
wow,
there's your
that
blind
is the
faith.
danger, right?
Yep,
That is blind faith. Putting someone on a pedestal when they have no business being there.
Right.
None of us belong on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Well, I do every once in a while, but not all the time.
Well, you put someone, yes, you follow someone, you believe in them, you gather knowledge from them, you gather inspiration from someone, but deep down, it is inner truth that leads you forward.
Right, that is true. And I think that and it doesn't have to be necessarily, one-on-one, but I find that the most powerful teachers for me have been the ones where I've had the opportunity to connect with them, like in person.
Mm-hmm. That's huge.
Radley Valentine being a big example of that. I mean, I don't, we don't text message or anything, but I've been in classes. I was in a live class of his, then I do a lot of his Zoom stuff, and he does his best to interact with as many people and acknowledge as many people as he can.
Right.
So, and you can tell he's reading the energy of the room, and you're contributing to that. So he's speaking to you whether he's calling you out or not. And then of course my dear love Mooney. I'm just crazy for him because he's just helped me so much. And one of the things that makes him so powerful is his willingness to, to put on the boots and muck through whatever's going on to help you get to the other side of what it is that you're trying to create. So
that's a true leader.
It is a true leader, right? Like it's just, I mean, it's just unbelievable the power that has. So, reading books is amazing. You should read books if you want to. I read books. I read a lot of, I read fiction.
Audiobooks are fine, Angie.
Yeah. It is what it is. The truth is I'm very reluctant to anyone telling me how to do what I'm doing. Right. Like, I feel like I got a connection for myself and I like it. I'm good where I'm at. But I encourage people, read this book. Read Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic. Read this magic book by the woman that wrote the what is that?
Yeah, The Magic.
Remember that book, The Magic?
Yeah, it's by Rhonda Byrne.
Yeah, and so there's that. Read those books. Kyle Cease is another one, great author. Eric Pearl, if you're interested in energy work, is a Dr. Eric Pearl. The Reconnection is a really, really interesting book. But they're not the be all end all of anything. They are for you to gather wisdom and knowledge and apply that in a way that works for you. So leave the blind faith behind, take in all that information, conglomerate it all up, and then make it into something that works for you.
Let me say something real quick on the reading. I remember when I was in college, I met people that we now call professional students who would, because they would take another class, another class, another class, another class, and never actually went to implement what they learned in, the real world, whatever that is. But the point is, they were continuous consumers of knowledge, but never went on to act on it. So it was all learning, never action. And I've seen people in the business world do that, where they take another course, they find another tutor, another mentor, another leader. But then when it comes time to well, did you implement it? Did you make it happen? Is it working? Well, no, I haven't done anything yet. So that's kind of the blind faith in knowledge.
There is some of that, but do you know there's actually an Akashic reason for that?
Oh, cool.
There is a whole soul group that is basically the teacher hiding in the realm of the student. Interesting. So it's I don't want to go too deep into it because the problem with with telling you Akashic things is you can't Google them, you can't look them up, right? You either have learned it from somebody or it's not really out there. But it's an energy signature amongst certain people that have them as the teacher hiding in the realm of the student, perfectly capable to teach, but they have maybe perfection paralysis, or maybe they have imposter syndrome.
Okay.
And that is part of kind of who they are at soul level. And until that gets pointed out to them, they will continue. I mean, look at I mean, I've run across, in the tax business, I've run across people with tuition statements well into their 50s, into their 60s, like they're still going to school. Some of them say it's because they don't have to pay student loan then. But like, how much debt can you take on before you kick the bucket,
before you crack?
Right? Like, but yeah, so it's kind of fascinating when you start doing work that allows you to identify patterns in people. You really begin to notice that there is a finite number of archetypes that we all fit under.
Yeah.
We are all, parts and pieces of these different things. So there's, multiple millions of combinations, right?
Right. Right. But the individual components, there's a finite number of them.
Yeah. So when people start to become aware of these things, then it helps them, like for me, my whole life, I beat myself up because I just could never get organized. I can't do it. The best intentions, shoe boxes, tote, whatever, it doesn't matter. I look at it, I go, I don't get it. I don't understand this. And I had a reading done by the person who taught me Akashic reading. And there was this one comparison, and it's organic and linear. So a linear person, so if it's a scale of 0 to 100 or 1 to 100, let's say it's 1 to 100, and 1 is organic, meaning it does everything organically, and then 100 is linear. That's the person that does everything like this,
by the book,
right? I'm like an 18.
Okay. All right.
So enough said, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And this person never laid eyes on me. She had no idea anything about me. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, damn, she's exactly right. Like
interesting.
Completely right. I mean, and then I've done the reading for other people. And like, I remember one person, she says, my trunk is full of totes and I just don't know what to do with them. And I said, well, there you go. She was like a 22 or something, like, so there really are archetypes. There really are stories that can tell us who we all are. So the more we connect to that, and the more we connect to that, the more we align with that, the more we align with teachers and mentors who resonate with us, the more powerful we become.
Yes. And back to the blind faith, the more we leave behind the complete trust in one individual or one idea, and the more we embody that organic, that inner truth, the more we're going to be able to stand on our own and move forward, and then not fall down when your blind trust leader happens to stumble.
Right. And a lot of them do. Right. A lot of them really do. So, wow. I mean, I can't even believe this conversation went by so quickly, but we're already at tarot time.
All right.
So, if you haven't listened to last week, go back and listen to last week's episode as well. We started last week with tarot time, and John is going to go through the tarot deck for you, probably 2 at a time. This week, we're going to do 1 at a time again, but we decided that we liked it so much and people are liking it. So we're going to do it so we can get through it a little quicker.
Right.
But he's going to tell you the key words for the card, and he's going to tell you how they fit into a reading. So he's going to explain a little bit about that, maybe a little bit about the suit that it's in, or if it's a major or minor arcana. So we're going to give you all the information over the course of time. And we will shortly have a PDF available for you to download and print so that you can follow along. But for now, just put it in a notebook, and then when you get it, you can go back and, it's all laid out really nicely for you in there. So we'll get it to you as soon as we can.
Yep.
Technical things, that's how it works.
Right.
Anyway, so what did we get this week?
Okay, so just a reminder, we are going through an entire tarot deck, doing a card of the week, soon to be 2 cards of the week, and we're doing them in random order. I am pulling a card each time, making sure that we hit a card we haven't hit before. So most classes go through them major arcana, then suit by suit. We're going to do them as a reading. So today's card is, can you see that? It's the King of Cups. So first of all, on the suit itself, the cup suit is the suit of emotion. So whenever you get a cup in a reading, it has some emotional component.
Just sale paper.
So
I knew you were on.
This King of Cups is he's the guy that truly loves and truly wants to invest in people. He's all about relationships, but because he's a king, he's got a lot of let me back up just a second. The cards that we call the court cards, so that's the page, the knight, the queen, and the king, have a little bit extra. They're a little bit different in tarot than the numbered cards or the pip cards. Sometimes the court cards can refer to a person, and sometimes they can refer to a situation. I like the King of Cups a lot. It resonates with me. Here are the key words for the King of Cups: compassionate and kind. And then another one is intelligent mind and loving heart. So it's the combination of head and heart. He thinks things through. Here's who the King of Cups is. He's the guy that whenever anyone has a problem, they go to him because he can help them figure it out and do it compassionately, right? Everyone knows someone that can solve your problem but then insult you on the way out, or someone that can give lots of compassion but has no clue how to help you. The King of Cups is the guy or the situation where he can help you figure it out and do it with compassion.
So he would be the perfect collaborator, no?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right?
No.
Like
this is my card. Whenever I see it in a reading, it really resonates with me. I've got the business side of my head, I've got the woo-woo side of my life, and these two things combined really make a good life.
Isn't that interesting? Somebody pointed that out to me the other day, not long ago, that I have the left brain, right brain thing too.
Right. Your business side and your woo. It's yes.
I don't know how one exists without the other, to be honest with you.
Well, people that are all in the left brain and
I'm going to tell you what, they're constantly asking me, how can you get me out of tax trouble? So no, thank you.
Right. And then there's the people that are like ungrounded, right? They're all in the scattered, and they believe every crazy conspiracy theory that someone tells them. They have right. So having both left brain and right brain, having both a logical and a compassionate heart side together, make a combination it's helpful.
That's an amazing comment. Okay, so we have a couple minutes. So if you get the King of Cups in a reading, so let's say you're using one of RV's decks.
Okay.
The suit of cups would be. Do you know what the other suits are?
Yep. Let me pull that out real quick.
We have a couple minutes.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes here.
So I wonder how the King of Cups fits into a reading. Could we?
So, back to your first question. Cups are also the water. So anytime
the water. Okay.
Yeah. So anytime you get a in Radley Valentine's decks, often it'll be he uses the elements. So there's air, fire, water,
earth and water.
Earth and water. Yes. So the cups are the water card. If you because it'll be fun. Let's say I asked you my least favorite question. Tell me what I need to know.
in one card and you draw the King of Cups, what do you tell me?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay. So I would say, all right, depending on if you're thinking about a person or a situation, if there's a situation that's come up for you and you are trying to figure it out, you're going to want to remember that your solution is going to be part logical and part heart and soul. So sure, you might have to figure out some numbers or figure out a solution, a logical solution to something, but don't forget about the soul side. Don't forget about the heart side. It also might be, let's say there's a person involved. I might say, you need to find the person in your life that you can tell anything to, but will give you practical advice, as well as being able to be the person you can talk to. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's where I would pull a one card reading King of Cups.
Okay, well, folks who are listening, that's what John just did for you, is a one card reading. You've got something going on, either a situation or a person. And remember, right, a balance. That's what you're looking for here, is a balance between logic and heart. That's amazing. I mean, one card, you told me so much from just one card.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. I think this is kind of fun to do it this way. So not only are we like teaching about the card, we're actually doing a reading for you as the listeners and viewers.
Right. And I think if you keep track now that we're doing it, if you kind of keep track and maybe journal a little bit about, the cards, because I believe that we will do other episodes, like we brought the goddesses in to do a reading for the quarter. I believe we'll do other episodes that kind of surround either angels or goddesses or, something like that. So if you start maybe keeping track and taking a journal of what you're hearing here, not necessarily just what we're saying, but what you're hearing and what resonates with you, you may find that you get some pretty good insight from this show. And I'm really happy to have that insight for myself, because that was the whole idea when we were discussing, coming out and doing this.
Yep.
So
the other thing you can do is, once you've journaled, go back weeks or months later and see, okay, I had this card or I had this reading on this date. How did that play out? How did that manifest itself in later days and weeks after having that information?
And actually, in the very beginning, we talked about how does somebody track their own personal growth? And that is a way, right? Like, what do you think now compared to what do you think in 2 months or 6 months or whatever? So, wow, I cannot believe it is time to hang up already. Can you imagine?
This was another really good episode. I learned a lot.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I learned so much about it.
And I guess for you all, because we actually didn't discuss it, next week episode is going to be a surprise for you.
Yes, right. And hopefully it's not a surprise for us, but we'll get on that.
We'll get on that. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it might be kind of fun once to not really, like just like a free for all. That would be kind of fun to do once.
All right.
Anyway, we gotta go. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for staying with us all the way until the end of the show. We really, really hope this creates an energy of, what resonates with you and personal growth and spiritual growth. And we just love you for joining us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will see you later.